we can sit here and wait forever and, maybe get noticed by a company and, maybe tag them a bunch, and eventually they come to us and be like, hey, would you like to have a discount with our stuff? And then you run into the same issue where the athlete doesn't know what they're worth and they're like, hell yeah, what, 10% off? Fucking right. So I'll do that. Right.
So
and
I've seen some extreme cringe people asking in comments like, hey, sponsor me.
Yeah. Yo, check this out. I'm super dope. Me, I. Check out all the things that I've done.
They don't give a fuck about you, by the way.
Right. Now, I mean, there's the odd time where that happens and then the company can read through the lines and figure it out. But this is what it comes down to. Just like everyone likes to talk about themselves, what's in it for me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if we're going to be approaching a company, because I get, like, even with our company as we run it, because we educate on sponsorship and people just see the word sponsorship, I get fucking emails and DMs daily. And it's disgusting because it's the same thing, right? It's like, hey, yo, I'm super dope, right? Hook me up, sponsor me. And they don't even know what we offer.
Yeah.
And, and they don't even know what, if it would be like, it's just so mind numbing, but it's not their fault, right? It's just simply lack of understanding and lack of education. Mm-hmm. And, so the best way is like, what's in it for the company that you're reaching out to?
Hey, Aaron.
What's going on?
I'm so stoked to talk to you. I feel like we're going to vibe.
Yeah, we were already having a good vibe, but we had to press record right away.
I know, and have a little interruption in our convo. Well, can you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you and tell my audience who you are?
Yeah, for sure. So, obviously, my name's Aaron. I started a company a few years back. We're branded as the Action Sports Club. So our main focus is really to empower athletes and enthusiasts how to get paid through their riding, leveraging sponsorship and finding different ways to monetize what they're doing, and really just get to a point where they can actually, first off, reduce their expenses, because we all know motorsports ain't cheap, especially when you break stuff. So reduce your expenses, and then of course find a way to actually get into a place where you're actually earning a living and making your money back and growing it from there. So that's our main company that we're focused on right now. You want me to tell a little bit about my story?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Okay, I'll try to keep it short.
How'd you even get to this point?
Yeah. I'll try my best to cliff note it, because I love to talk about myself.
We all do, right?
Yeah, 100%, right? But it all kind of started with, my addiction to motorsports. So I was like 5 or something like that. My parents got me and my brother our first snowmobile, and it was pretty soon after that they realized we were going to be pretty expensive children, because again, motorsports ain't cheap. So they figured out a way they seen that we had a really big passion for motorsports, and my dad actually had a history of snowmobiling and racing and stuff like that. And actually going way back, my grandfather actually brought the first Polaris snowmobiles into Western Canada, where we're from.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so it's kind of in the blood, it's in the DNA.
Mm-hmm.
But we got into it at a young age. Parents realized, like, okay, they obviously really enjoy it. We got to figure out how to support them, because it's so expensive. So they came up with a way to fund themselves to get into actually buying a dealership. So they bought a Polaris snowmobiles dealership that wasn't doing too well, about an hour away from where we lived. For the main core reason was actually just to reduce the expenses so we could get out and ride. And then, of course, to make a business that was profitable, right? But it just created that win-win for that. And then kind of fast forward, we got into the racing and the riding. Brother and I, we did really well. My brother, the last year that we were both racing, I was factory sponsored by Polaris Industries. We had some big parts deals through like what's called Parts Canada for us. So I think it's like Parts Unlimited in the US. We had
snowmobile?
Snowmobiles, yeah. So
okay.
Like motocross, motocross race. So same thing, but on a snowmobile.
Yeah, you guys do wheelies and stuff.
Yeah, we get a little bit wild.
That's
Yeah.
so sick. I've seen
Um,
some videos.
yeah, good time. I'm into the backcountry sledding now, which is just a whole different game. It's a lot of fun.
So
But
what ended up happening?
yeah, so I ended up like I was the more accident prone one between the two of us, me and my
Mhm.
brother. Um, but I ended up having I had a string of bad accidents. I had a because we raced motocross in the off season too, just to stay in shape, and I fractured. I can't remember which ones it was in my neck. Fractured a couple vertebrae in my neck and herniated a disc in the moto season. So took a
On the
big break
bike?
from that on the dirt bike. Yeah,
Oh man, that's the
yeah,
worst when it's not even your main sport
yeah. Right.
and you get
Yeah,
injured.
it was nasty. And then recovered from that, and then got into the sledding side. And then um, I had a ruptured spleen and pancreas. I fell off my sled and got run over by another
Oh
dude.
shit.
It was pretty gnarly. It was heli-vac off a mountain into like Seattle Trauma Hospital, like pretty gnarly, nasty
Wow.
one. Um, thank God we had insurance because it was like I think it was a $250,000 medical bill that we managed to get covered on like a $15 insurance policy.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
pretty gnarly. And then after that, I had another one on the bike, another bad one on the bike, and I punctured a lung, ruptured a kidney, broke, multiple ribs, broke both collarbones, got pretty mangled up. So that one was the worst because I basically, they got me into the ambulance, got me to the hospital, and I was flatlined, and then they popped a hole in me and relieved the pressure in my chest, and it was this crazy thing. And I remember waking up and it was just this gnarly thing. So that was the last nasty one. And then from there it was like family was like, okay, we kind of
What's the
like you.
plan?
Yeah, we kind of like you being alive.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the last call. and
Kind
and
of
then they're
a
like,
pivotal moment in your life.
yeah. And then it doubled down because they were like, let's just take the season off for me. So um then what happened is Josh went all in with the sledding side, and then he qualified for X Games that
That's your
year.
brother.
Yep, older brother. Um, Qualified for X Games, and then part of his contract that he had with Polaris, he had to show up to a couple national events. And he also wanted to qualify for a couple other different events for the X Games as well. Went to a race, hit a big double, and it was super windy, so he bailed off his sled, and then he landed on his knees in the snow, which usually on a sled in the snow it's pretty, like, it's soft and you slide, right, compared to like dirt or like street, like you guys, you just stick and bounce, right?
Hmm.
But he just landed really bad, and he shattered about 5 to 6 inches of his femur. And like some way, somehow they flew in some of the best doctors in North America, and they saved his leg. Like they were about to
Wow.
chop his leg off.
Holy shit.
And that was like kind of like, okay, guys, like, you
Now your
know,
parents are like,
yeah,
"Huh."
racing, being
Yeah.
alive, maybe we should reconsider. So that was the kind of pivotal moment where like, let's get the racing, let's sell the business. They wanted to retire at that point as well. Um, and that was kind of the shift down. So then my brother just kind of took off from there, went to work. I did the same thing, trying to be like, okay, well, I want to get back into racing. I mean, it's my love, it's my passion, right?
But maybe do it
Um,
as a hobby, not as a professional.
well, honestly, I wanted to just get back into racing because I thought that was the only way that I could get paid like I was and be able to ride full time,
Hmm.
right? So that was just the rat race at that point. It was like, I just need to figure out how to make the most money possible, because racing a full series with snowcross is like, it's super expensive, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I went through 10, 12 years of just like trying to find the best job that paid the most. I went into oil and gas, worked that, made great money, but I was always busiest in the winter because obviously that's the best time to ride a snowmobile. So kind of a catch 22 on that.
Yeah. So it didn't work out.
Didn't work out. So then I went to school and got my electrical ticket, and because I knew I could make good money doing that too. And then
At this time, were you still sponsored,
no, because
or you
once
let them go?
yeah, once the accidents happened and we sold the business, we just cut. It was like just cut right off. We just stopped completely.
Too much pressure.
Too much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then yeah, it was just figuring out like, cause I just had this belief of just like the only way that I can ride as much as I want is if I'm a pro and I'm
Mm-hmm.
sponsored again and I'm getting paid.
That's the only way you can afford it.
Right. Right. And
Yeah.
so that was what I was trying to build up to get back into the circuit and back into racing. And then it
Mm-hmm.
just came to a realization where I was like, well, it's just this catch 22. Like I did really well as an electrician, started making really good money in that. But now because I was a foreman, because I did well at my job, they didn't want me to take time off. And I was like, I was a yes man because I'm like, well, I can make more money, right? Like they're like, well, we don't really want you to take the weekend off. We got this job, we got to get it done. We'll pay you overtime. And I was just like, okay, you twisted my arm, right? So it just came to a point where I had the money, I had the the needs to do so, but I just
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get the time now, right?
Yep.
And so I just had this like freaking moment. I was
Like, what
like,
am I doing with my life?
yeah, full on rock bottom, dude, like right to the bottom. And I'm like sitting
Where's
there, I'm like,
my identity is gone.
100%. I was like, I felt like a complete scam,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I'm just like, I tell everybody, I still talk like I'm a pro athlete. I, act like I'm going to get back into racing.
You
And
want to,
I want
but you
to,
don't
but I'm
see a
not
way.
doing it. Action
Mm-hmm.
isn't, actions speak louder than words. And that was that moment where I'm just like, I need to fix this. Like, I need to seriously focus on this. And I was like in this basement suite where I was working, like sitting there, like I'm making like 10 grand a month as an electrician. I'm making great money. I own a home. I have the vehicle. I just got a new sled again, barely get to ride the thing. And I'm sitting there like, this just isn't right. This is like it's not what I was planning on doing with the rest of my life. So that's when I just started looking. I'm like, I have to find another way. And then it's the typical Google search, right? Like how many people out there, they're like, I know the fix. I just need to make more money, right? I just need more money and then money will fix everything. So I'm like, how to become a millionaire on Google, and they're like, well, you need 5 to 7 income streams. So I'm like, okay, well, I just need to go figure out another way to make money. And I'm on my cell phone scrolling on Facebook trying to like forget about how much of a sham I feel like, and then boom, I got hit by an ad, and right, and this guy's
That's how I
like,
found you.
yeah, exactly, right, and so this dude, and it was so synchronistic as well. It
Mm-hmm.
was just such a trip because it's this dude, and I just and maybe like a month before that, I just got back from Costa Rica, which is where my brother lives. He lives there full time, and he was having a baby, so we went down there to visit and like welcome the new little dude to the world, my nephew into the world. And I got home. It's been a month or so, and this ad pops up, and it's this dude, and his name was John Peabody, and I can remember it so vividly. And he's standing in this like auditorium area in Costa Rica. And I literally was standing right there like a month before that. Like I recognized it right away. I'm like, oh shit, what's this? And he starts talking, and it's the whole, scammy vibe kind of, hey,
Sales
you
pitch.
you can make money from anywhere, like, laptop lifestyle and blah, 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 and this new thing. And then he tells a little bit about his story, and he's an electrician as well. So I'm like, whoa, like things kept lining up.
Clicking. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, this doesn't feel legit, but I have to look into it, because if I see this guy a year from now or 2 years from now and he's still doing his thing and crushing it, I'm going to hate myself for not actually like proving that this isn't legit. You know what I mean? So that's where it kind of triggered for me. And then I went in looking into it, understanding what they were doing. And it was just really just teaching people how to leverage social media and digital marketing, the whole direct response marketing world. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just started to kind of all download and like come in. And I'm like, fuck, well, like my parents owned the snowmobile dealership. And when we would go to the races and do all these different things. That was a tax write-off for the company because it was all marketing and advertising for the company. Because we would show up to the races and we'd be showing off the shop,
Mm-hmm.
and if we performed better or whatever else, we got to shout out, the shop, and when we took our trophies and everything else and
Market it.
market it as crazy. Like the truck, the trailer, the snowmobiles, was everything was, the shop name was Spectra Specialty Repairs, right? So everything was covered in branding, and and then of course our other companies we were working with as well. But then I was like, man, like there's if I can just find a way to build a business that is heavily leaning around marketing, then all I got to do is figure out how to put my snowmobile in there and leverage my snowmobile and what I love as that marketing conduit for my business.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And now it's like, I have to snowmobile because that's what drives the attention and the advertising for my company. And so that's where it all started to click and started to kind of make sense. And then I'm like, well, fuck, when I was sponsored, that's all I was doing. I was just marketing for companies as well, even though
Mm-hmm.
just being a kid, you're kind of ignorant to it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
At that
You
time, I
don't
was like,
realize you're doing that.
no, like parents really helped support that. Right. Because they knew, but I didn't really, they didn't explain it to me. And, I was just there to race. And, my parents were like my agent. Right.
Is
And
this a
so,
time of social media,
so
or is it
when I
before
was racing,
social
social
media?
media didn't exist yet. I
Okay,
think,
so it was purely on skill
yeah, like it
that
was
you were getting
purely,
sponsors.
yeah. And I mean, even then though, right? Like it wasn't even necessarily about skill per se. Like that was the direct attachment to it that we would make.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a moment that made me understand, like the time that I hurt myself and got hauled off the helivac for Seattle trauma. That was the race that we did there. We went down to the US to do so. And it was because we traveled down to the US and raced the US circuit was the reason that the rep decided to give me a full A team factory sponsorship. Because we were
Damn.
B team all before that, where we would get access to the race sleds. We would get rolling chassis where we put our mod engines into them. And we get a significant discount on those sleds, but they weren't for free. Right.
So that was your discount sponsorship that
So
you talk
that
about in your
was
book.
right. And so we had B team deals, and then my dad was always pushing the rep. He's like, why? Like our boys are the best, of course dad's always bragging about us too, but he's like, they're performing the best. They're winning the series in Canada. Like they deserve A team sponsorships, because we would get paid contingency from the factory too when we'd perform at the races.
Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you're enjoying the episode. Real quick plug, I want to invite you guys to our online wheelie coaching course. This is exclusively made for Harley riders. We created a 3-stage progression method that is guaranteed to teach you how to wheelie. This is for day one learning riders. It's broken down from day one all the way to balance point. With this course, you get our exclusive members only Get Vertical app that makes it easier to access while you're at the lot practicing. You also get to join our Facebook community where we have a group experts in there all ready to help, and other Harley stunt riders learning from each other. You'll also get invited with online group coaching with Bruce and I, where you can ask us direct questions about your progress and any struggles you're having. You can sign up at getverticalcoaching.com. Link will be in the description. Anyways, back to the show.
Right? Like a lot of these factory companies, they have a deal where if you place in the circuit and it's a recognized circuit, they'd pay you cash, right?
Okay.
Sorry
to cut you off, but how does factory sponsorships work?
So they're all going to be a little bit unique and different in their own way. But like for us, for example, with the sledding side, nowadays there's essentially, a lot of the times there's like 3 tiers to it, right? You'll have like a ambassador kind of program or sponsorship, which kind of gets skewed a lot, this whole ambassador language, where it's more like discounts or, referral based kind of deals that they work out. And then a lot of the times you'll see like B team and A team deals, right? And then when you get into the highly paid deals from a factory side, then that's usually like directly one-on-one negotiated, and they're going to be unique based on the rider.
So
right?
what's the difference between the A and B?
So A team is full everything, like equipment completely free from the factory, like the manufacturer side.
Like as
Okay.
needed?
Yeah. So for us, we would get at that time, they were 440cc engines and 800cc engines. So those are the two size snowmobiles we'd race. So you get a full 440 race sled. And then we'd get um, a full mod race sled as well, where we get a factory engine from the factory.
Dope.
So yeah, but B team would be high discount and discount on parts. A team was like the full thing from a factory perspective when it came to
But
the
A
manufacturer.
team A team wasn't salary or paid.
Correct. Correct.
So B
You would
team
get
you got
paid
a
on
discount.
performance.
Oh, depending on your races?
Paid on performance. Yeah. So when you would get to the races, they would have contingency payouts for Saturday where you'd make so much, and then Sunday was like big contingency payouts. So like I think off the top of my head, for like pro class on a Sunday, we would have 3 different pro classes. So you'd have a 440cc class, a 600cc class, and then an open class. If you cleaned house the whole weekend, you could probably do about $5,000, maybe $8,000 in contingency payouts.
Meaning clean house like first place?
First place across the board, yeah.
They wanted you first place before they paid you.
You'd have to be top 3 to get
Oh,
paid.
okay.
So it would be tiered out, right? So
Fair
if you
enough.
played a third, you'd get so much, second so much, first so much.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's the A team.
So actually, that would be A team and B team. They would pay contingency. It was really
Okay.
unique in the sledding industry. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. But
And
then
then
you'd
they had
have
full ride sponsorship would be product and yearly salary or quarterly.
even in the snowcross area, it was A team. You wouldn't get paid direct. You would get all the equipment for free, and then usually get so much of a budget for parts because we do a lot of damage on the sleds too
Yeah,
when you're racing these things.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And then then it was just paid per performance on the weekends. So there would be like the Levi Lavalle's, the the at that time, Blair Morgan was a big name in the snowcross industry, Tucker Hibbert, that kind of stuff. They would have like those unique deals where they would do one-on-one deals where they'd have like a salary or getting paid direct from
So
factory
how
too.
has things changed since it kind of moved from skill to social media?
Yeah, and yeah, to kind of touch on that too, like the whole idea of the skill, the reason that a lot of us associate the idea that it was always based on skill over, exposure, like the social media side, it's just simply because we didn't have control of the media, right?
Mm.
The
Mm-hmm.
media happened at the races or at the events. So, and typically, if you were performing well, you would get more camera time. Or typically, if you were winning, the audience that was there would be looking at you the most.
That
So,
makes
the
total sense.
right. So the reality is, it's never actually been corely based on skill. It's always been based on attention.
Mm,
It's just
that's good.
how that dynamic was laid out before, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you could be the most badass, most talented rider in the world, but if nobody's looking at you, nobody gives a fuck, right?
You're totally
And
right.
and
Do
so
you
it
even exist?
right, exactly. So it's always been about eyeballs. It's always been about attention. It just happens to be correlated when if somebody does perform well and we see it, we just attach that belief to it, right? That it's
Mm-hmm.
just because they're super badass or they're super talented. Yes, of course, on the flip side, being talented is a great asset to have, which is going to boost your
Your
attention,
visibility.
but it's always just been corely the main core focus is the attention,
That makes total
right?
sense.
Because you can have a complete goon that gets a ton of attention, and any attention is good attention, and there's a way to monetize that from a company perspective because they need eyeballs in order to generate sales.
So are you coaching these extreme athletes now? Like how are they finding you? Are these people typically they have massive following and they just don't know how to negotiate deals with these companies? Like
So
why do they need you?
yeah, good question. So I mean, there's a few pieces to it. Like the core audience that we have in motorsports is a lot of people that are like the weekend warriors or just the enthusiasts, right?
Mhm,
And they're just like, hey, like I'd love to figure out a way to be able to spend more time riding or driving, right?
mhm.
Um, and be able to start reducing those expenses in order to support that. So that's probably the core amount of our audience. Because if we really look at it from like a marketing perspective, right? Kind of like what you were saying earlier before we pressed record, when it comes to, you know, the the Harley niche that you guys
Mhm.
have for stunt riding for Harleys, like it's such a tight, small niche, right? And so the amount of athletes like you, like I don't know how many of them are there on the planet, 1,000? I don't know. You
I
you
can't
you
even
tell
say.
me, right? Like
Uh,
it's not going to be a huge
yeah,
number,
it's not not many.
right? So, but then if you look at it from the other side of how many do you have in that audience of people that are aspiring to
Mhm.
or just getting into it or super interested in it or just want to be able to get out and learn how to do a dope wheelie, just to show off to their buddies or whatever, right? So that part of the market is way larger.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Mhm.
So from a business perspective, we need to make sure that we can create a space to, cult or accommodate to those individuals as well. So the reason I'm saying that is the majority of the people that we work with, they're just getting into it of understanding like, hey, like I don't have a social following. I'm starting to realize that there's a really cool opportunity here. Like these are assets now, right? It's not just to brag and boast. Like these are things that are appreciating in value every single day. Attention is the number one commodity on our planet now, right? So that's where we see the majority of our audience. And then we have others that'll come in that are maybe highly talented, right? But they've just never bothered to strap a GoPro on or do anything with it because they're like the typical person like I was, where it's like all I use Facebook or Instagram or any of these things for
Yeah,
was
I
to
just
look at like,
ride.
yeah, watch cat
I love to
videos to
ride.
yeah,
Yeah,
watch some cat videos when I'm bored and then just go and ride and shred and follow a couple people here and there,
totally.
right? So we support a lot of people in that place where they're starting to open up and be like, hey, like obviously social media ain't going anywhere.
Mhm.
It's become a part of our lives now, whether we like it or not. So that a lot of people are starting to catch themselves and realize like, hey, I'm putting in like an hour a day, 2 hours a day. I mean, some people are like insane, like 5-6 hours a day on some of these platforms. So it's like we have to, in my opinion, what we believe is like we need to stop consuming. We need to start creating. Let's start taking that time that we're wasting
Mhm.
and burning our brains and not supporting ourselves, our own lives, or anybody else's really, and start creating something of value. And, while we do that, that's going to bring more exposure to us as an individual, share the things that we believe in, what we stand for, and why we love our sport so much. And it just starts to stack on top of itself and all the benefits we can reap from that. Sponsorship deals right off the bat. We can start getting some discount deals, some soft sponsorships. We can start getting monetization through these platforms and start getting paid to post. We can, then grow these relationships into paid deals, right? If you understand sales and marketing, how to negotiate and how to provide value, it's really not that complicated. Then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, you're creating something that's bringing an income in. Create a business, a marketing company for yourself. Now all of a sudden you create these tax efficiencies because you need to ride to create the content, to build the audience, and to get the attention in order to serve your customers, the company sponsoring you or the audience that's watching.
So, let's dial that back a little bit because I'm not sure if my listeners even understand
Mm.
sponsorships fully because to them, sponsorships, they don't understand there's different levels to it. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
like you were explaining with your Polaris deal.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about a few in your book. Can you kind of break them down?
Yeah, I think even reeling back even further, so, and thanks for bringing that up,
Hmm.
is really understanding the definition of sponsorship in the first place. Because I mean, even for me growing up, and I think the majority of the motorsports community out there, they they believe that, hey, if I'm just a badass and I can do cool stuff, I deserve to get sponsored and get paid for it, right?
Hmm.
And they treat it as if it's this one way, or they think of it as if it's this one way street.
Like you owe me.
Right. I'm a badass. I'm
Like give
super
me your
dope.
your
Yeah.
product. Give
Yeah.
me, pay
Give me your
me.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. Let me show off your stuff because I'm cool.
Like I just
Right.
need a ride with your parts on my bike. Like
Right.
what's the deal?
Exactly. Right. And then that's so common, right?
It is.
And
I
so
mean,
it's like
but how are they supposed to know?
they don't, yeah, it's nobody's fault. Right.
Hmm.
But it is that core belief where, because that's just what people see from the outside looking in. They see somebody, it's going back to that whole point, right? They're like, man, he's so good at doing what he's doing, or she's so awesome at that thing. Of course she deserves to be sponsored, but they have no idea how it works behind the scenes.
Okay,
And
so let's
so,
clarify that even more clearly. You don't have to have skill to be sponsored. It's not about skill. It's about how much value you can provide to the company, marketing pieces,
yep,
and yeah, that's about it. In
right,
my
because
opinion,
yeah,
something that they can use as marketing. You don't even have to have a
absolutely.
million followers.
No, you don't. It's just if you have a core loyal following, that's really all that matters, right? I mean, if we really boil it down, because it's all about business, and I mean, if you want to, like, you'll get the typical conspiracy angles too, where it's like everyone just wants to make more money, capitalism. Well, yeah, that's where
Hmm.
we live. We live in North America, and it's capitalism,
Hmm.
right? So any reason that a company is going to sponsor or work with an athlete, it is strictly for the purpose to get a return on their investment. That is it. That is the
Can you
core
explain what
reason.
that is?
Yes. So if I'm going to sponsor you and put my brand on you or let you use my parts or my equipment, I am doing that for the sole intention to generate more sales for my company.
Because you would not just give me free parts for no reason.
That's called charity,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
Sponsorship is not charity. Sponsorship is a win-win relationship between you and a company.
Yep, I
That's
agree.
the
It's
that's the boil down, right?
partnership.
It's a
So,
partnership deal.
so get into the different types of levels of sponsorships that you
Mm.
talk about.
Right. So, I mean, the first level is usually where a majority of people start, and it's just like a discount deal, right? It's discount on parts or discount on equipment or discount on a certain service that you're using with the company, right? Just to reduce your expenses. A lot of the times that's a good opportunity for a company to get a trial run because, all companies have a margin, right? Um, it may cost them $100 to build the thing, and they maybe sell it for $300, right? So if they give you a discount and sell it to you for $100, they're still breaking even, right? So they're not at a loss, right? And then it's their opportunity to get you to use their stuff and potentially help them bring in more sales,
So
right?
you're saying the discount sponsorship, they would send you a product, they would offer you usually like a discount code for your audience, and then you could say, "Hey, I have this um, exhaust pipe. Use my discount code. Link in bio."
Yeah, I would say that's more
Right?
similar to like this new ambassador kind of language that a lot of companies have been playing around with now, because it's kind of a combination of two, right?
Okay.
It's a combination of like a discount deal because you're getting a deal, and it's a combination of like paid per performance, right?
Okay.
So there's
So
a way to track.
in this discount sponsorship, I wouldn't even get the exhaust pipe for free. I'd have to pay for it.
Right.
So
Discount deal is just straight up. You're
I pay
paying, but you're
wholesale.
paying less.
I pay
Correct.
wholesale.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd pay the
Or
$100. Got
exactly.
it. Okay.
Yeah. And that's typically where a lot of the relationships will start. because there's less risk for the company, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
good opportunity for them to do it like a trial run for the athlete, right?
So this athlete should probably overperform to move up to the next stage.
Yes,
Go
yes. I
above and
mean,
beyond your expectations.
right. It's always good to, I personally, for me, I think, in any relationship, I mean, we could look at a relationship between, you know, you and a company being no different than a relationship between a friend or a
Or at a
spouse
job.
or at a job, right? If you're not delivering, like if they give you this much value and you provide this much in return, and that stays like that, and it's not equally reciprocated, well, that relationship probably isn't going to stay very healthy for very long. No
Mm-hmm.
different in a friendship, no
Yeah.
different in a personal relationship, a romantic relationship. It's just the principle of it. So if we get to a point where the value we're getting from a company or that one party and it's equal and opposite return in value, then it's people are going to be satisfied, right? In
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, we always want to be going a bit above and beyond. You don't want to blow it out of the water, but you want to make sure that you're providing more than the expectation that's set, because it's just the law of reciprocation,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a universal law that our society lives by. So if you're providing a bit more value than what you're receiving, then of course they're going to want to renew for next year, and they're
Mm-hmm.
going to be open to expanding that relationship to being a better deal for you, right? Now, that's where it comes into a problem with a lot of athletes, enthusiasts, riders out there, is they have no idea what they're providing in value. So they don't even know where they are in the scale, right? And if they never spend the time to figure out what they're doing is worth, right, or what they're providing is worth, then sometimes they might be just over delivering like insane amounts of value.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be real. Do we really think that a company, if we remove all the emotion from it, right, from a simple business, like a business principle, business perspective, if you're happy, right, and you're just ignorant to the fact of how much value you're delivering, good, bad, right, or wrong, just reality of it, do we really think that the company's going to go way out of their way to start pushing up that deal if you're not asking for something more?
No.
Why would they?
It's just like a raise at work. They're not going to just hand it to you.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You might have over the years, maybe they'll be like, hey, like, maybe you'll have some companies or your boss or something, they just finally get to a point where they're like feeling guilty and they're like, man, we need to like really make sure that Drea's good here, because she's
Mm-hmm.
been crushing it for us for the last couple of years.
We don't want to
But
lose her.
right.
Uh-huh.
Right. So it's like, but it's like, that's the idea. So it's like, if we don't know what we're providing, the value we're providing is worth, then you're never going to be able to expand that relationship, because why is the company going to offer you something bigger?
So
They're
how do
getting
you
a great
know
return.
where to meet them at? How do you
Right.
know? How do
Now,
you
that's,
determine that?
we spend probably a good, inside of our in-depth coaching, like we spend a couple weeks just on starting to get clear on how to actually measure your value. Right. We really go into like marketing principles, of understanding the different metrics of marketing. So I won't go too deep into that, because it's a pretty in-depth kind of
It's complex.
understanding, right? But with everything that we do, um, you can measure, you can quantify how much a view is worth based on a platform, right? You can quantify how much an impression is worth, right? Which is like how many times somebody sees that piece of content, if you will, or, is in a local area, at a race and an event. There's
Mm.
ways that you can quantify that value. So it's understanding those formulas and then being able to plug in what you have and take really good estimates. And that's one way you can put a dollar amount on what you're doing. Right.
Well, that would be a good pitch to a company, but the question is, does the company even understand that?
Mm. And that's the funny part, because there's a lot of big companies out there that, don't understand direct response marketing in detail as well.
So
Right.
what would be like a surface level thing that would be a beginner thing to focus on as a beginner
Mm-hmm.
in the marketing world that would matter to majority of companies, even like small businesses?
Yeah.
Let's say
Making them more
an
sales.
apparel company let's say,
Yeah.
because I think apparel would probably be the first company that would probably sponsor you as a Harley stunt rider.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, I mean, straight up, the easiest way to quantify is if you can track and measure how many new sales you've been able to generate for them, or new customers you've sent to them, right?
So with the discount sponsorship, they provide you a code, and then you actually make sales.
Yep, it could be done through that. Or even just like if you don't have a
Affiliate.
code, it's just straight up. Yeah, because that's the same thing, right? Having a code is essentially the same thing as being an affiliate. It's a trackable link that they
Mhm.
can click, and their software tracks it as they go through,
Mhm.
which is actually really hard to track nowadays with all the new privacy stuff. So even
Oh,
that is like kind of a,
interesting.
if you don't really understand the back end of it, um, you could have people going through your link and never actually accurately track it,
Oh, wow. I got a
right?
good question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you even get that discount sponsor?
Hmm.
Like, what's the first move?
Yeah,
Do they
ask.
approach you, or do they do you hit them up in the DMs, or like how do you reach out to these people? Do
Yeah,
you send them a resume? Like what do you recommend as a
yeah.
professional?
So again, we could spend a couple weeks into getting in all the nuances of it, but if we want to
No,
get
just
to
give
the
me a gist.
basic principle is ask, right? If you don't ask, you'll never get it, right? We can sit here and wait forever, and maybe get noticed by a company, and maybe tag them a bunch, and eventually they come to us and be like, hey, would you like to have a discount with our stuff? And then you run into the same issue where the athlete doesn't know what they're worth, and they're like, hell yeah, what, 10% off? Fucking right, so I'll do that, right?
So
And
I've
then
seen some extreme cringe people asking in the
oh yeah,
in comments like, "Hey, sponsor me." Just straight
right,
up.
right. So we
Like, and
always
that
have
is
to
not the way to do it.
no, no.
Or to hit them up within DMs and, "Yo, want to send me a pipe?"
Yeah. Yo, check this out. I'm super dope.
Yeah.
Me, I. Check out
They
all
don't
the
give a
things that
fuck
I've
about
done.
you, by the way.
Right. Right. Now, I mean, there's the odd time where that happens and then the company can read through the lines and figure it out. But this is what it comes down to. Just like everyone likes to talk about themselves, what's in it for me?
Mhm.
Right. So if we're going to be approaching a company, because I get like, even with our company as we run it, because we educate on sponsorship and people just see the word sponsorship, I get fucking emails and DMs daily. And it's disgusting because it's the same thing, right? It's like, hey, yo, I'm super dope, right? Hook me up, sponsor me. And they don't even know what we offer.
Yep.
And, and they don't even know what, if it would be like, it's just so mind numbing, but it's not their fault, right? It's just simply lack of understanding and lack of education.
Mhm.
And the best way is like, what's in it for the company that you're reaching out to? And if we know that, the only thing that matters is a attention, and it funnels down to the point of the of generating more income, a return on investment. The core point is like, we as a company, if we're going to sponsor an athlete, we want to make more money, period, and we want to make more money than what we're investing into you, or else the relationship isn't there, right?
We're wasting money.
It doesn't make sense,
Mhm.
right? So we have to be getting more than just a mutual benefit out of it, because it's no different than if you were going to start advertising, and get into paid media. I don't know if you do, but if you got into paid advertising for what you offer, and you're paying more than what you're paying more than what you would get for acquiring a new customer,
You're
you
not
don't
going to
have a
keep paying.
business.
Yeah,
You don't have a business, right?
totally.
So we have to be able to pay less for our advertising, our marketing, the attention that we're driving, for what we're getting out of that company, that customer, or that individual that we're sponsoring in return, right?
Makes
Or
total
else
sense.
it doesn't make sense for us to even do it in the first place,
Totally.
because a business needs to make profit, period. Right? So
Yep.
the best way to reach out to a company is like, hey, um, love your stuff, lead with gratitude. Hopefully you use their stuff in some way, shape, or form, or you're in need of using their stuff, right? And you're not just doing it for clout. And then it goes, here's some of the things that I could provide of value to you.
In
What's in
list
it for
form.
them?
List
right?
form. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, you could, and then it's like, maybe it's content that they're creating for them. Maybe it's some local events that they're going to. Maybe they know the company is going to be at a home show soon or something like that, and they can come and support at the booth. Maybe it's, X, Y, Z. Maybe it's they have a audience base that, they've surveyed and found out that they're interested in this company's product. Hey, I have a XYZ audience that really loves your guys' product, right? I'd love to be able to send you traffic. I'd love to be able to send you, potential customers, or what we call in the business world leads, people that have shown interest that haven't purchased yet, right? So now it's like, hey, I love what you guys have. Here's a little bit about why I love it, and here's some ways that I'd like to be able to provide value to you. I mean, if we really want to get into the nuances of it, the best way to approach is to just full on say, hey, I'd love to work with you guys. I'd love to see if there's a potential win-win. Okay. That word alone is fire. That phrase alone is just a killer in and of itself. I'm not quite sure what the win-win is yet. Would you be open with setting up a quick 10, 15-minute meeting to discuss some ideas?
That's fire.
Okay.
Do you think phone call is more powerful than just going back and forth through DMs or email?
10,000%. Video
Because
call
they
is
actually
even
get to
better.
know you, huh?
Yeah, they can hear you. Video call would be even better. And if you can, try to meet up with them locally,
That's
right?
good.
If it's a local dealer or something like that. It always comes down to in person is always going to be the most impactful, most memorable. Then you have what we're doing, like video, be the next best option. Then it would be voice, right, of some level, and then email, and then probably the last ditch effort would be like hitting up in their DMs if you can't find any other way of contact, right? But yeah, that's what it comes down to. It's what's in it for them. You need to understand how you can even fit within their marketing and branding that they have. And then from there, you could, that's what we teach in depth, where it's like understanding,
Your
uh,
audience.
understanding your audience is always important. But then when it comes to the outreach, it's understanding sales, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're selling sponsorship. You're selling them on why you guys should work together. And anybody that has resistance to the word sales needs to get over it, because sales is everything, right? A lot of the times I think people hear the word sales and they relate back to a poor experience they had of a salesperson.
Like a
Maybe it
used car
was
salesman.
exactly, that's the first thing that people think about, right? And what happens in what gives you that bad taste, right? You walk onto a lot and they go,
You feel
Drea,
scammed.
what are we getting you into today? Right? And then they go, come check out this new nice fancy red Camaro SS we got on the showroom. You would look really good behind the wheel here. Yeah, come have a seat. Let's go give it for a ride. That's shitty sales. Right? What is good sales? Hey, what are you here for? What's your problem? What are you looking to solve for? Why are you even here in the first place? Understanding what they're looking for.
So
Right?
what you're saying is you want to sell yourself to these companies.
Absolutely. And you need to approach it from the place of a consultative approach, right?
Well, then how do you determine what type level of sponsorship you should? Do you kind of let them lead with, you tell them your value and what you can give, and then see what they respond with? Oh yeah, no problem. With that, I think what we could do is a discount.
Right. So, I mean,
Like, how does the conversation go? Let's say we're on the phone.
Again, to try to simplify this down so there's some good actionable takeaways. It's tough because we really build a lot on principles of marketing, principles of sales, understanding the metrics, understanding how to actually put a dollar amount on what you're doing, and knowing what it's worth. That's all a lot of the foundation of this, right? Before leading into these conversations. But
And you teach that in your coaching?
absolutely, in
So
depth,
you'll
we go through
actually
it start to finish.
go through someone's Instagram and or social media, YouTube, and see what they're worth.
Right. Yeah, we literally have like calculators where you can plug in how many impressions are you generating a month, and this will spit out a number of showing you what's the market value of the amount of eyeballs you're generating every single month or daily or per post, however you want to map it out and break it down.
And then
Right.
that's what you can present to these companies.
Right.
Like,
Because
hey,
now you
look.
know what it's worth. Right.
Yeah, because even following doesn't really matter if you're getting more impressions.
Exactly. Because following, it's like, having a following is basically bragging rights a lot of the times. Right. Because the problem nowadays too, and it's a lot easier to look through it nowadays, is, anybody and their dog could go and, buy a bunch of followers and stack up an audience. Now, is there a way that can be of value to a rider? Yes, sometimes it can help for social proof, right? Do we recommend doing that? Absolutely not, because you're just bringing followers in that aren't going to actually be able to provide a value, right? It's just bots or fake or
Yeah, you can tell right
whatever
away
else.
when you go onto someone's page if they bought their followers or not.
Right.
It doesn't take very much time, and I'm not even a professional in that realm.
Right, exactly.
I can
You
tell.
just
I'm
take
like,
a look at their audience and look at what kind of
they got
reach
like
they're
20
getting.
likes and they have like 20,000 followers.
Exactly. Right.
Like,
So
what is going on here?
it's not, again, it's right. It's not about your following.
Mhm.
I mean, if you've been building it intentionally and doing it the right way, then yes, that's a good indicator, right, for an initial look. But it comes down to, like, who is your audience? Are they actually potential customers for the companies you want to work with, right? Are they actually active and engaged? Are you building a community, or are you just putting yourself up on a pedestal, right? That's a huge aspect to this. Do you actually have a community of people,
Mhm.
right? And so these will provide different stacks and different levels of how you could value your audience as well, right?
Mhm.
So it gets really nuanced, right? But it's just understanding the kind of the value ladder to it all, because you could have an audience that's a core, like a really well engaged audience as well. And just as an extreme example, I think I have this example in the book where, maybe you have 100,000 person audience and they're all vegans and vegetarians. And then you go and try to negotiate a deal with a chicken wing company. Well, what fucking good is that? All of those people, they may be real, they may be engaging and following, but are they really going to go buy chicken wings? No, they're vegetarians and vegans. So they're not going to be customers.
I'm just going to throw this out there as a funny. I just had a pool vac company hit me up, and I really needed a damn pool vac. And it's like shit you don't want to spend your money on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll take a product sponsor for that. And I'm thinking in my head, why are they sending me this? It's like, I have no idea. It's like a $900 cordless pool vac. But I'm like, fuck it. But that's their fault.
Yeah. But
and I'm gonna make the post and to what I agreed on.
Yeah.
But like, I mean,
well, tell me more about it. Is it like a pull vac, like a
pool vac?
A pool vac.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like a vacuum for your
Well,
pool.
I mean, there's still a level. I got you. Well, there's still a level of value there, right?
I guess they asked me for my insights about where my audience is from, and I provided the actual data, and they're like, okay, I'll send it to you. Here's what we want. And I'm like, okay, deal.
Yeah, because there's still a level of value there. Because I mean, the extreme example that I gave would be like, for a fact that none of those audience are going to be eating meat unless they're like closet vegans and closet vegetarians and they're sneaking chicken wings when nobody's looking.
Yeah, right?
True. Or like, for example, say, and these are just extreme examples, right? Say you have an audience that's all female, 100% female, right? But you work on a sponsorship deal with like, My Package underwear, where it's like men's specific underwear to like hold their junk. Well,
yeah.
Are you really like, maybe you could see a place where that could help generate some sales because maybe the ladies are going to buy it for their man, right?
But you'd have to market it in a specific way to sell it to the woman.
Right. The value is going to be less than if it was 100% men in that audience, right? Because you're going to have more people that would come in and buy it. For you with a pool vac, like you're into Harley stunt riding, but there's probably a lot of people that do that also have pools. Right?
Maybe.
So
I don't think they're coming to my page to find a pool.
Probably not, but you might be able to catch their attention.
Well, I hope so. I hope I
Yeah.
provide some sort of value. Anyways,
I
I thought
love
I'd
that.
throw that out there.
No, it's
That was kind
good.
of
I
funny,
love
but I was
that.
like, damn, that it's a nice pullback, by the way, if anyone wants one. Aper.
There you go. See,
Seagull.
pop off a couple sales and they got their ROI, right?
Yeah, totally. I would like to get, I don't want to, and this is what I try to tell my audience, don't waste these companies' money,
Mm,
and I accepted that sponsorship or the product sponsor. I just wanted the damn pullback.
hmm
Yeah, I'm being selfish, but I didn't lie about my insights. They
hmm
still thought I was valuable. I'm
hmm
going to follow through with what we agreed on. I'm going to
hmm
give them the content. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to over deliver.
hmm
I'm not looking for a long term relationship with this,
Yeah.
nor do I care to have a relationship with them
Right.
because I don't need multiple pullbacks for the rest of my life.
Right.
Nor do I want to keep pushing it, to be honest. But like, I'm not going to waste this company's money. This is someone's hard earned money,
hmm
you know? And I feel like a lot of writers don't value the company's product and money, and they just take the product and they don't do anything.
hmm
They're kind of egotistical,
Right.
and they expect, they like, oh, okay, I'll put the pipe on my bike, and that's what you get
Yeah.
from me in a
hmm
hashtag.
Yeah.
I,
Exactly.
I
I think there's a lot of ego that exists in the motorsports industry too, because a lot of us are just, it's not so much of like the big team sport thing. It's just like, it's us as the individual for the most part, right? That's
mhm.
front facing anyway. So, um, I think there's definitely a lot of ego that exists. I mean, I know I have a huge ego and I had a massive ego when I was racing too, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. In my
but
prime, it was bad.
yeah, right.
It was bad.
But I mean, it's just knowing like, hey, as long as there's a way that we can reciprocate the value and understand like, hey, this is a win-win. This is, this isn't a one-way street. We're here to provide value back. And it starts your brand from that perspective too of what you're doing with companies. It gets around too,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And other companies are going to see that, and that's one great way to build a good name and brand for yourself just that way alone, over delivering.
Well, okay. So we went over discount sponsorships.
Mm,
You talk about soft sponsorships.
right.
What is that level?
Yeah. So a soft sponsorship we would just classify as you get the product, the service, or the equipment at zero cost to you.
So that's the
Right.
pull back.
Right.
So
Soft
I
soft
actually got a soft sponsorship.
soft sponsorship.
Okay. No strings attached, or they're
Well,
expecting something.
there's always going to be something attached, right? Or else then you're just looking at that whole definition of charity again,
Hmm.
right? So there still needs to be some level of reciprocation, in order for that really to be considered a sponsorship in our definition, right? Um, so it's just the point is you're not paying in money, you're not
Hmm.
paying in dollars like a customer would, right? Instead, you're paying in a different way of value, exposure, um, sales through your audience, or through whatever medium or platform you're leveraging. That's, instead of paying $900 for it, you're going to provide at least $900 in value through those channels.
If you got a soft sponsorship, could you possibly present to them? So, for instance, like this pullback is a good example because I would rather not talk about um, Harley part sponsorships that I deal
Fair,
with.
fair.
Um, the pullback guy presents to me, I'm going to give you this product, but I don't necessarily want to invest my time into making marketing pieces for this company.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to continue to get new pullbacks every year.
Hmm.
Could I just say, would it be appropriate by saying, look, I'm happy to do this with you, but I don't want any strings attached. Let's say this is a Harley part.
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly riding with it. I have a large following. Are you cool with that? Alone. And you can use my content as ads or marketing pieces. But I don't have
Yeah,
to make anything specific for you.
right, right. I mean, in that level, I don't think you would even really be able to define that as no strings attached, because how I see it as strings attached is it's just the reciprocation of it, right? It's like, I mean, this is the biggest thing is like how many times have you had a company or a sponsor or a potential deal reach out to you and you negotiate?
A lot.
Okay.
All of them.
A lot of people out there, they won't negotiate, right? They don't know how to actually work the deal. So, you know, to kind of answer your question, is it like, because you're asking like, is that out of place, right? Or is that okay to do? In my opinion, you should always do that, right? Because again, if we look at it from a non-emotional standpoint, right? Remove the emotion from it completely, and we look at it logically. Well, if a company gives you an offer, do we honestly believe that the offer that they're giving us is going to be the best offer that they got?
No,
Right. Why the hell would they give you their best offer right off the bat?
they don't even know
Right.
you.
Right. They're going to see what they can get. Right. Again, removing the emotion. It's not, nothing negative against the company or negative against the rider. They're going to offer you something and see if they can get the highest return on investment possible. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come in with an offer, I mean, I truly believe that it's our job to then negotiate from there. I mean, we need to understand what we're worth in order to be able to have the confidence in doing so,
Mm.
right? Which is the
Yeah,
biggest
yeah.
issue I think people run into.
You're
But
right.
now it comes from this place of like, hey, we'll give you whatever. We'll give you $1,000 and do XYZ things, and we're going to do this, right? And this is what we want in return.
Mm.
Well, from there, we always need to be able to know how to rebuttal that and do it from a non-emotional place, because it's no hard feelings. This is business,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we can come from that place of like, hey, thank you. Always lead with gratitude. Best attitude is gratitude, right? Lean into the gratitude side, and then from there, ask if they're open to negotiate a bigger deal.
After you worked with them for a while?
Why not right off the bat?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, the answer is always no if you don't ask.
Exactly. Right? And so you got to remember, like, I mean, yeah, maybe you'll get some companies here and there that don't know how to remove emotion from what they're doing. That's on them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Maybe you don't
But
want to work with them.
and that's fine,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, it's probably not a good partnership anyway if they can't handle a negotiation, right? But I think it's our duty, and that's a big thing, what we believe in is, you know, we really want to educate people at a whole new level, because there are so many companies out there that'll just offer a deal, 10% off for this, that, and the other thing. And then the athletes or the enthusiasts or the riders, they have no idea what they're worth. And they're just freaking stoked that they even just got the opportunity in the first place. And now they're going to be able to brag about, hey, I'm sponsored by XYZ company.
Yeah.
Right.
They wear the
Again,
hat and
yeah, it's nobody's fault. Right. But it's like our goal is to really start to educate in that way, because not only is this going to provide so much more value to the company when you can actually measure and show the value you're bringing to them, right? But it's going to provide so much more value to us as riders and as the industry, because we're going to be able to start raising those deals up,
yeah.
getting better deals collectively as a community and as an industry.
Yeah,
And
because if people keep doing these deals for free, do you expect someone else to get paid for it?
right.
Yeah.
And it
So
just creates that flywheel, right? Because now it's like when we can drive more exposure, when we can have athletes and enthusiasts that understand marketing,
mm-hmm.
they understand it in a lot more detail. They understand how to drive exposure to any piece of content at will. They understand how to actually generate clicks and sales, and they know how to measure those results and report them back to these companies. Not only are these companies going to be so stoked because they don't have to hire analysts to break it all down to figure, hey, how much did Drea and this person and that person bring as far as value for the company this year, right? Are we renegotiating, or are we getting the reciprocation out? You can provide that value to them. It's going to be saving them money and time to figure it out. They're going to have clear answers of who to work with. It's going to allow us to expand those deals bigger and bigger as we grow. And it just brings more attention and more exposure to the industry as a whole.
and brings it more mainstream.
100%.
I love that. That's kind of, I just had a realization when you were talking that, we were talking about how do you make that mindset shift from just focusing on skill to shit. Now I'm basically my own business.
Right.
Because now I'm running my my Instagram or my brand, my self brand as a stunt rider, as a business. I just realized that you're facilitating that mindset change with your coaching.
100%.
Because how am I supposed to know as a stunt rider my value if you don't help teach me that? Because I don't even know where to look or how to understand what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean that's
cool.
like that's like we aren't taught business.
No.
And we're not taught financial literacy as well. Those are the two biggest problems, in my opinion, in society right now, right? They don't teach us how to become an entrepreneur. They don't teach us how, business principles, right? And they don't teach us how to manage money. And they don't teach, like, so many people are scared of the word business and starting their own business, right? Because they just have no fucking idea what it even means.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like, if you understand how to build it and frame it the right way, if it all of a sudden it creates this whole different, like if we created like a simple break, like just this piece alone has the ability to save people thousands of dollars in, per year in expenses in what they're doing, what they're riding. And if they just take the time that they're investing into their freaking cell phone already for useless reasons and just start to actually be intentional with it, right? This piece alone, the tax efficiencies that you can create through establishing yourself as a business, as a media company, and understanding how to leverage these expenses for your riding as an expense into your business, right? And then cultivate this in a way that you can actually get it to a place where you're generating revenue within the next year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it takes, 4 years, it doesn't really matter because you're going to be doing the thing anyway. You love what you're doing. You have a passion for it. You're also already using social media in some level, shape, or form. So quit the consumption, start creating something out of it, start leveraging these free platforms that exist, right? And grow these audiences. You're doing the thing anyway, so it only makes sense. It only makes sense to figure out a way to actually build an asset that you can monetize. Because right off the bat, as soon as you establish yourself as a business, not as a hobbyist, and as soon as you say, here's my intention, I'm here to grow an audience, to monetize this audience, and there's so many different ways you can do it. I mean, there's people making money selling pictures of their freaking feet nowadays. Yeah. Like, let's be real, right? There's so much abundance of all the different ways that you can earn through what you're doing with your riding. It's just a matter of picking a path and understanding to do it. That alone, like, say you make, just for numbers sake, right? Like, I'll butcher this a little bit, but if you make $100,000 a year just as an employee, right, from a tax perspective, now I'll lead with this. I'm not a tax accountant. This is not legal advice, everything else, this, that, and the other thing. This is, information for people to take.
All the disclaimers.
Then, right? Take this information and do your own research and use this as the catalyst to do something about it. Right? Now,
if this is the motivation, here it is. I know where you're going.
Exactly. So,
go ahead.
So if we look at it from just like being an employee to establishing ourselves as a business, right? Just a simple understanding that as an employee, when we make our money, we pay tax. It's pre-taxed, right? Before we get that check from our employer, the government taxes it, right? From a business perspective, we get the money first, and at the end of the year, then we can deal with the taxes. So what this allows us to do is, just for simplistic of numbers, say we make $100,000 a year as an employee, right? And we spend, for us sledders, we spend lots of money with what we do. I'm sure Harley riders and stuff too spend lots of money. So say I spend $20,000 a year on my sport, the equipment, the travel, gas, hotels, fuel, parts, events, all this different stuff, right? food, right? All of these expenses that exist. Well, as an employee, you make $100,000, you pay income tax on that $100,000. That $20,000 in expenses is just straight out of your pocket, no benefit. Whereas as a business, you make that same $100,000. Well, now because you're establishing yourself as a media company, a marketing company, whatever framework or whatever angle you're going to go up, an educational company, whatever that offers, maybe you're building your own product or service, or you're just marketing for other companies, or you're just monetizing through the platforms, whatever, right? Figure out what that is. Now, you make $100,000 as a business. Well, now those $20,000 in expenses, that comes off the top first, brings you down to 80 grand. Now you're paying income tax on $80,000. Just that understanding alone could be putting thousands of dollars back into our pockets at the end of the year that we can dump straight back into what we do with our love of our passion of riding.
So what Aaron is saying is, as a sponsored rider, you can actually create your own business legally. Even a sole proprietor, you can write off taxes, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to technically become an LLC to write off the business expenses.
100%.
I believe.
Yep.
Either way, you can start your own business. Let's say I wanted to do Drea Stunts and I just wanted to be a sponsored rider. These companies send you checks and you're a 1099 employee, basically an employee, or a subcontractor.
Contractor, yeah.
And now you can write that off and you're not being, or you could write anything off. I write this microphone off, this laptop, this light. You can write your cell phone off. I mean, you're making content on this. You can write your cell phone bill off. I could write off this whole room, this that I own in my house.
Yeah, because you're showing reasonable expectation. There's a reason behind why you need this in order for you to do this podcast, which is part of a marketing channel for your business.
Yep.
Right? It is a necessity for you to build and run your business.
And yeah, I'm doing this under Get Vertical, but if I wanted to do it under Drea Stunts, I could do that as well.
Absolutely.
As an influencer, let's just say it that way. As an influencer. Right? Am I saying this?
Yeah.
Am I explaining it correctly?
100%. Yeah. So it's just, it's understanding it's
a
just
hard concept.
Yeah. Because we're not taught it, right? Nobody teaches us this stuff.
Yeah. So anyone that's listening that does shows, let's say you do Harley stunt shows, you can write off the travel, you can write off all the food you eat, the hotel, the gas, your van, your mileage. You can write off everything. You are a business, you're working and you're getting paid for that show. Even if you're doing it for free, you can write that off, all the expenses that require you to get there.
Yep.
And your phone. I mean, you're getting footage the whole time.
Absolutely.
Anyways,
yeah, I think a lot of really, because one thing that I know a lot of people get caught up with, especially if you go and talk to an accountant that is like more old school, when you take this information and you go speak with them.
Oh, they don't understand influencers.
Right, because they're just like this whole digital world that just doesn't click. So here's a perfect example of how this can be framed, right? So have you ever seen, like, you go to like a coffee shop or whatever and they get like there's like these little miniature pamphlet magazines or like a free little read. They have like horoscopes on them and maybe like the joke of the day or something like that. You ever seen those before? Yeah. So it's not just a Canadian thing. Right? Like you can get these newsletters or magazines and they're free, right? You can take it and it doesn't cost you a penny. How the hell do you think that they're running a business doing that, giving that away for free? Ads. Right. So what they're doing is they're creating a media channel and then selling advertising space. Right? It's the exact same idea of what we can be leveraging our social media for. It's a digital newsletter or a digital magazine, right? And so if an accountant's like, you can't build a business through social media, it's like, well, here's a free newsletter. How do you think they make money? They sell advertising space. That's my intention. I'm building my social media. I'm growing attention. I'm building an audience, no different than the newsletter, right? And I'm building this audience with the intention to monetize it. I want to advertise on it, maybe through a company. I want to, maybe market my own product and service down the road. And I mean, nowadays, all of the platforms will pay you just simply for frickin' posting, because if you're not going to take advantage of it, they sure as hell will. And they'll pay you pennies on the dollar to be able to put ads on your content to get in front of your audience, because you're not the one monetizing.
Yeah.
Right. So it all exists in this environment. And so it's just a matter of helping them understand, well, no, I'm building an audience for the core intention of monetizing it. Right. And sometimes when people hear that, they're like, well, I don't want to be a sellout and I don't want to try to monetize my audience. It's like, well, grow up. That's happening to you every single day. So doesn't it make more sense for you to be intentional with what you're doing and figure out a way that you can provide value to your audience that they want, that they need, that they're looking for, and you can cut out the middleman? It's happening to them every single day anyway. So just understand how to do it effectively and know what your audience is looking for and do it on behalf of your audience. If you're going to go and reach out to a company, keep it with your audience in mind, right?
What do they want?
What are they looking for? What do they need? What are they looking for more of? Right? And then that's how you do it in a way of not becoming a sellout, right? Because I know that's a big problem with a lot of big athletes out there. They're worried they're going to feel like a sellout.
Or they're going to lose followers, or people aren't going to like their shit anymore because they're posting too many ads.
Right. But let's be real for a second again. Let's remove the emotion, right? Are those followers actually, like, what's the level of value you're getting from them? If they're going to leave if you advertise, I mean, if you're intentionally trying to advertise and do it for a win for yourself and a win for your audience, right? Some people just, you can't, if you try to please everyone, you'll please nobody. It's just a simple rule. But let's be real for a second. If you lose some followers because you're advertising and you're doing it for the core intention of actually serving your audience as well as serving yourself and as well as creating a win for the company, right? If you're approaching things from that place,
making a living off of what you love.
Yeah, you lose some followers or you get somebody to call you out, like, that's a direct reflection of that person's, mental problems that they're going through. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. And let's be real for a second. Having a large following, is that actually paying your bills?
No, not unless you monetize it,
right?
Off of it.
So there's ways that you can do this that it's a win for everybody.
Totally.
Right?
Well, and it's sad because you see people with a huge following and they don't know how to monetize off of it. And it's kind of sad.
It's horrid.
It's so sad.
Oh, like, in my opinion, when you really start to understand marketing and sales at a core level, it can take some time to do so. Like, I've been studying it for over 8 years, right? And it's still a massive universe, right?
There's a lot to know.
Oh, there's so much. And the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know shit, right? It's such a deep rabbit hole, but it's an amazing skill set to have. Marketing and sales are the two most valuable skill sets that anybody on this planet can learn, because they are infinitely scalable. There's no ceiling to it, right? You can continue to learn in it. There's no cap. There's no end. But I guess, like, one of the principles that I truly believe in is if you actually are building a core audience in the right way and you start to understand marketing and sales principles in depth and you can deploy it effectively, then there should be no reason that you're not making at least $1 per follower per year.
That's
right?
Good.
If it's a real core following and, you understand these principles. As a matter of fact, that's at the low end. There should be no reason that you can't be doing $1 per follower per month when you really understand these core principles and understand how to scale it.
Right? Shit, I must not understand it.
Well, you're really just getting into the whole business aspect and starting to lean into it now, right? So you're getting into that universe.
That's why I'm like, I feel like I'm shaking people, because I was them at one point. Before my transition. I didn't go into my story, but basically I was a really, really good stunt rider, had kids, and then retired. And then I started my own business when I wasn't riding, learned everything, and then I was like, wait a minute, I miss riding. How can I apply what I know in my business, learned in business, to
Yeah.
stunt riding?
Yeah.
And now, like, my vision is clear.
Right.
And I'm like, holy shit, I wasted my whole, 6 years of stunt riding when I was extremely good
Mm-hmm.
by not knowing how to monetize off of it, you know?
Right. But I mean, it's, you could say that as one perspective of like, man, I wasted all this time, but you can also flip the script and be like, man, I'm so grateful that I know this now, because it gives you the opportunity. Like, same thing as me. Like, if I knew
Mhm.
what I know now when I was pro, like, I think the last year I started racing, I think Facebook existed for like 2 years at that point.
Oh, wow.
Right. So social media was really just kind of opening up. Like, our thing was like MSN Messenger in my day,
Oh
right?
my
Like, that was our
gosh.
thing.
Okay.
Right. So, but I mean, like, if I knew what I know now, I could apply to all of these same principles, even to how it worked then. Right.
Yeah.
Even without
Yeah.
social media, just understanding that it's all about attention and all about, the audience and the brand that you build.
Building a brand around
Game
yourself.
changer. And
Yeah.
so now for you, knowing what you know now, it's our opportunity where we can provide that information to those that are going through it like we
Mhm.
were. So they can really, it's because I believe in this I have this belief of, like, from a coaching standpoint or a consulting standpoint, is if you kind of like visually imagine it, you know, over these years of me racing, being sponsored, going through the ebbs and flows, and then understanding marketing and having the epiphany like you did, right? And just the vision being cleared, and like, wow, this is what's possible. I see that as like us paving this path, right? We're going through the jungle. We've been whacking through the weeds with our freaking machetes or whatever. And we've been slowly like creating this path. And my goal is to now, because I've been able to get this and understand it in depth, I want to pave that path so it's something that a lot of people can go down, and the path can handle it. And I want to get as many people up to the point where I got to as possible, right? As quickly as possible, so they can start hammering that path down and take it way further than I ever did,
Yeah.
right? Because that's really where the impact comes from.
So this is the strange dynamic that I've encountered.
Hmm.
I hypothetically grew up with a friend, meaning like in stunt riding, we grew together as stunt riders. She
Hmm.
always focused on the marketing end. She knew what the fuck she was doing as far as marketing herself, building a brand around herself, engaging with her audience, all the things.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like posting just to post to show off my newest trick and how good I am. It's all about me, 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 me.
Right.
And I was picking up sponsors just to survive, you know, to be able to continue writing because I'm just breaking shit constantly.
Right.
And now that I retired and detached from all that, and now I see things more clearly. Now I look at what she's built, and it's amazing. She's a full-time professional stunt rider, living off of sponsorships, and I'm like, dude, you don't even understand. So this is my revelation.
Yeah.
You're doing all this work for someone else's business.
Yeah.
And you're doing everything you're doing for them, you could be doing for yourself.
Right.
The same amount of work,
Yeah. And
but
getting
you're
way
so
bigger
burnt
margin.
out. Yeah, you're so burnt out because you have to continue to make this content for let's say 10 companies. I don't know what the real numbers
Right.
are, but
Mm-hmm.
let's say 10 companies, and you're just drowning. And now you don't even love stunt riding anymore. It's
Mm-hmm.
a job, straight up job.
Yeah.
And what if one of those companies don't know how to run their own business, and they one day tomorrow say, I can't pay you?
Mm-hmm.
Or what if you can't ride anymore?
Right.
At some point, you're going to get too old. You can't keep doing this forever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I go back and forth with, I like talking about business and stunt riding and pertains to stunt riding a lot. So I bring up sponsorships a lot just because easier to change people's mindset, but at the same time, I think it's better to just do your own damn business. Like if you
Yeah.
want to be a mechanic
Mm-hmm.
and you leverage it with your stunt riding because you're going to get more visibility for your shop.
100%.
You know, if you have
100%.
a apparel business, leverage your social media um, for your apparel business, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because we're so seen as Harley stunt riders. The visibility is so easy. It's so easy to become influencers because it's such a niche thing. Like,
Niche. Yeah.
when Aaron, have you ever seen anyone do a Harley wheelie?
I've seen. Oh, I definitely see him come across my feed, and then I just look at it. I'm like, man, that's gnarly. It's such a
But
huge
you've never
bike.
seen it in person, huh?
I've never seen it in person. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see right there. It's
Yeah.
so rare that you can grow your following quickly,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Anyways, I forgot where I was going with that. I went on a rant.
Well, I'd love to kind of touch on that rant that you're bringing up because
Mhm.
this is something that we truly believe in as well. Is because your comparison that you just made there is a perfect example. There's like these two ways that you can build a following, right? One is the way that you did it, and we call this like putting yourself on the pedestal, right? Look at me, I'm awesome. You know,
Look at my skills.
I do dope stuff, right? Follow me because of that. Um, Good, bad, right, or wrong. There's nothing, you know, it is what it is. That's
Mhm.
one way that a following can be grown. And then you talk about your friend, and it
She was
was
intentional.
marketing, intentional. She was focused on community.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, it's not saying that one is, you know, well, it's not saying that putting yourself on the pedestal isn't going to give you the ability to build a community. But if you're intentionally focused on a community where it's like, it's not me, it's we, it's
Mhm.
us. There's a mission behind this. There's a vision behind this. There's a thing that we believe in, stand for. People love to be a part of something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
It's human nature. So if we can facilitate that as an athlete or an influencer, let people's voices be heard, be at their level, not be like, hey, don't talk to me because I'm way above you, right? Just be there and be with them, engage with them when you can. You know, obviously you don't want to drain yourself, but show up and be as if you're just like one of them. You're not this glorified jellyfish that, you know, you're one of
You,
them. You just
you're not
happen to have
untouchable.
the platform. Exactly. Um, the level of value that comes from that compared to this is exponential. And there's this principle out there. I can't remember the marketer's name that wrote this, but it's so true. When you can create a following of 1,000, I'm talking loyal followers.
I know you're talking about. Shit, what's his
You've
name?
seen that before, right?
Yeah, a
You'll be
thousand
set
lawyer.
for life.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead and say it. Sorry.
Yeah,
Just say the quote. A thousand true
thousand,
fans. A
thousand
thousand
true
true fans.
fans. That's
That's it.
right. Yeah, if you can have 1,000 true fans, you'll be set for life because they will buy what you buy. They will do the recommendations that you take on. They will promote anything that you have that you stand behind because they believe in what you're doing.
Sell something for $100 to 1,000 true fans. That's $100,000.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
And so that's one aspect of it that you talked about. That's why we're always like, we lean in, like, focus on community, build community.
Mhm.
And the other layer to this is, you know, when you do it in that way and you focus on community, like even for your friend, what does life after riding and life after competition look like? Well,
Go ahead.
if you have a community, it gives you the ability to still monetize and leverage that attention and audience after that. There's so many pro athletes out there that were able to build somewhat of a community that don't do their thing anymore, but they were able to establish in a business because of the brand equity that they built.
Yeah. Rob Deerdeck,
Right?
mastermind.
Right? 100%. So one great example of that. So there's that layer of it where it's like, okay, community over pedestal. Obviously there's that's the better way to go. The other layer to this, like what you were saying, I truly believe that it's not this or this, right?
Mhm.
It's not sponsorship or start a business. I truly believe that we can do it in steps, right? Because business is hard. Let's face it.
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
It
You have
is.
to become like, the concept of business is very simple. It's find a core group of people that have a problem and provide a solution to it. That's it,
Mhm.
right? And then when it comes to growing a business, it just comes down to two things. We call it traffic. So people putting their hand up saying they're interested, and conversions, them turning into a customer and buying your stuff, right? It's very simple. What's difficult is the person that we have to become in order to operate the business,
Mhm.
because we have to grow. We have to learn. We've never been taught this stuff. We got to touch the stove and burn ourselves a few times. Or,
Fail.
maybe we can find, fail forward, right? If you come up from this, and it's a lot of mental game, having a good mindset, always approaching it from this place of either I'm going to win or I'm going to learn,
Mhm.
right? And business is difficult because of the person that we have to become and the things that we have to learn to do it. It's not complicated. It's very simple. We just have to become a different person. So I truly believe that if we come at it from this approach of like, it's all of the above, well, we can first focus on, hey, let's get clear on what we love, why we do what we do, our sport, right? Like why we do it. What's the mission behind it? What do we truly believe in? What drives us to do it? And then from there, focus on building community and getting used to content and creating content and building this audience and building it in that way of being inclusive with the group, sharing your message, making sure that it's not just you riding, there's something deeper to that. Tear the onion layers apart.
Mhm.
And then from there, that gives us such a huge advantage over the next guy when it comes to engaging sponsors, because sponsors want to be a part of something bigger too. And when you
Mhm.
understand how to build a brand for yourself, you're going to understand how to represent a brand as well, right?
Yeah.
Your value becomes exponential when you start engaging these companies. So now you
Yeah.
can start tapping into these companies and actually even leveraging their audiences as well to help grow yours.
Mhm.
Okay. And then from there, it's like, well, what if we start getting into paid deals, performance deals, these kind of things? When you're negotiating, if you can consciously pay attention and be intentional with how you're negotiating these deals, so you're not just going to create a space where you burn yourself the hell out, right? You can negotiate deals in a way when you understand your value to be able to manage your time effectively, so it doesn't just turn into a massive job.
Yeah.
But then through this, what are you doing? You're learning marketing principles. You're learning sales principles, right?
Negotiation.
Negotiation principles. And so then as you're doing this, like one of the best ways to learn how to run a business is to work for a business and actually be intentional and paying attention to what they're doing,
Yeah, you're right. So
right?
basically sponsorships, you're an employee. You learn the ropes, then eventually you start your own business when you're ready to retire.
Right. How can you provide enough value to build a good relationship with them to be able to then be a part of the ins and outs? Like I learned sales by getting into a sales team and providing exponential value and grinding my ass off to be one of the top performers, with the sole intention of not only to earn and make a living from it, but to learn from these people. Being very intentional with what you're doing. You can do the
Mhm.
same thing with sponsorship. You can do the same thing with marketing. It's the smartest way to learn because you're getting paid to learn,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, so many people take on these careers and they're not intentional with what they're doing with their job, that even if they worked at like even when I was an electrician, my goal was to over deliver because I wanted to make sure I never ran out of work. I always wanted to make sure that if there was layoffs, I would never get laid off.
Mhm.
And I did it so I could get the better jobs and I could get paid more and I could start using my vehicle to reap the financial benefits of that, right? The only way I was able to do that in that career was I provided more value than what I was getting in return. And I showed up every single day. I said, hey, how can I help you? How can what can I do to support you guys? I got inside of it. I started to understand how the business ran,
Mhm.
right? For the intention of learning it for myself so I could do it on my own.
That makes total sense.
And I'm getting paid to learn, right? It's just
So
changing
that's
that
a
little shift.
yeah, that's a whole nother dynamic.
And then as you grow this, right? Get into sponsorship, get into these paid deals, understand how to negotiate. Now it's
Build the
like,
relationships.
cultivate, build those long-term relationships. You can grow with their brand as well, right? You can create that win-win there. And then, of course, I truly believe that everybody should be doing this with the intention to get to a place where they can start and launch their own business. Because when they start to build this core following, 1,002 true fans, maybe it's a little clothing company they want to launch. Maybe it's a cool coined phrase that they've developed with their community over time. Maybe it's a service. Maybe it's a
Or
product of some sort.
maybe you partner with one of your sponsors because they see how amazing you are,
Right.
and you become part owner.
Exactly. Right. So it's being intentional about the big picture,
Yeah.
the macro of it,
Mm-hmm.
and then coming down to the micro and knowing like, hey, every step I'm doing here is intentional. I'm going to
Yeah.
be learning as I go. And and then you can build something where you have a life after competition. Right?
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, because I was talking to my friend that I was just referencing, and I'm like, man, like, what's your plan exactly?
Yeah.
You know, because you get to that point where you're like, all right, when are we gonna take off our Letterman's jacket? You know, like we gotta let this pass the baton down to the next generation because we're getting a little too old to be doing this shit, especially when you're a female. It's a lot.
Right.
It's different. You can't ride forever.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So it's figuring out what is that thing that we can monetize, understand, because she probably understands her audience pretty good by now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what are some of the problems they're dealing with, and where's a level of value that you can provide to them with it in exchange for money? Cut out the middleman and provide a win-win value, right?
Yeah. And I truly think that's when you find your purpose in life. And I'm sure you discovered this as well. When you decide that you're no longer doing it for yourself and you start serving others with your expertise and skills, you know? So for me, it was, I know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about when I'm teaching people how to wheelie.
Yeah.
And I've done all this work for the past 10 years for myself. And now I'm providing the value for other people. And it brings a sense of joy and fulfillment that reaching the next trick before never gave me.
Right.
Before I would get so high every time I'd land the next trick. And I know you would know what I mean. You land the next trick and then you finally expose it to the world. Well, you didn't have social media, but you post it on social media like, look what I can do. You get high for like a day. And then the next day you're like, all right, now what? Now what I'm going to learn?
Yeah.
But when you find your purpose and serving others with what was your passion, you get a different sense of fulfillment and joy that I don't even know. I've never felt before. It's very strange.
Yeah, I think that's the human experience, I think, right? It's getting to that point of when you realize that it's just more than just us. It's more than just me. And you can provide that. I think that's like, you know, I'm sure you went through that a lot when you know, having growing your family, right? I think that's really the same thing. You realize, hey, it's not just about me anymore.
Yeah.
Right. It can be about others. And it's like, you know, it's that legacy mindset or whatever you want to frame it as. Right.
Totally.
But I can't remember the saying exactly. I'm trying to remember it. It was kind of a fun saying. It was it was something like the I think it was like the purpose of life is to or the meaning of life is to find your gift, and then the purpose to life is to give that shit away. Right? So it's like learning what you're good at and what you can do, finding your talents and your skills. And then when you hone that in for yourself, then it's like that's where you can find that real solid purpose and fulfillment, is actually giving that away to others and seeing them succeed.
And sharing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you teach your kids something. You get you're so proud of them. It's the same way, even if it's not your kid, when you're in your, they call it dharma, I think, is it in Buddhism?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, dharma. Yeah. When you're in your dharma. Now we're going down a mental mindset path.
Oh, we can go all the
Well,
angles. I think mindset is such a staple to all of this as well, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's so interesting. Well, I love what you do.
appreciate that.
Seriously,
I've been
I
loving to
feel like
see your stuff here too. I've just started to learn a lot more about you recently and following you on socials. It's dope to see what you're creating here as
cool.
well. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm in the beginning stage of doing the whole business and trying to link it with my stunt writing. And it's cool because before, the business that I did had nothing to do with writing, and it had nowhere near the growth. Now that I'm leveraging my platform,
right, right,
it's crazy. That's why I'm like, stunt writing will help you with whatever moto related company you want.
right.
You know, it, it's just crazy. I don't know. I hope
If they only
to
knew
help
what we
people.
know, right? That's our job.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's our
totally.
job. Hmm.
Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you, and maybe we can do this again because I like
100%.
talking about this type of shit.
Yeah, time flew by, hey? Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna close up, but don't leave yet. I'm gonna like stop recording, but don't head out yet. But
Sounds
before I
good.
go, I have two questions for you.
Yeah.
Where can my audience find you?
Yeah, so we have my personal channel is at Aaron Roy Fraser. So it's double AARON Roy Fraser across all platforms. And then we also have our company channel, which is The Action Sports Club across all channels as well.
And that's where they can get your coaching and get some help and on knowing their value
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
kind of
So
where to go from there. What do
yep.
they
So
get?
we have our first our main offer that we have right now, just to kind of over deliver, provide lots of value up front, is we have a book. So it's free, just cover the shipping.
I
And then we
loved it,
have
by the way.
yeah, that's awesome. I love that you grabbed it and gave it a read. So we have our book. It's packed full of good information of understanding the foundation and principles. We got a couple little bonuses that you can grab while ordering that book as well. And then from there, you just become part of our club and our universe at that point. So we have digital courses. We have some more in-depth coaching programs as well that are invite only. You have to be vetted to go through those. We want to make sure that anybody we're working with is somebody that I would be stoked to invite to my house for a house party. That's what we've really built this business around.
I love that.
Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We're really focused on just education and supporting people with seeing the big picture, like what you're doing, and find ways to build a career out of it for the long term.
That's awesome. I'll leave all that stuff in my show notes, by the way,
Dope.
some links and stuff so it's easy for them to find you. But my last question is, what impact do you want to make?
Yeah, well, I believe that the action sports industry deserves more exposure, straight up. And I believe that the best way to grow our industry as a whole of motorsports and extreme sports is to empower the individuals, the athletes, and the enthusiasts involved with it, because they are literally the backbone of the industry. And, the more that we can help them grow, and, of course, they'll benefit from that through the sponsorships and monetization and growth in that way, the more that we can bring more attention to the industry as a whole. So that's really my goal. That's the mission. And that's the purpose of this company, is just to drive the exposure to the industry that it deserves, as a collective.
Dope. Well, it was a pleasure, Aaron.
Yeah, I loved it.
Well, and until next time, because we got to get together again soon and do another one
Hell yeah.
if you're down.
I'm
If you're
down.
down, I'm down. Okay.